Amit, shouldn't this be economic terrorism? Because what is happening is that the civilians are having a problem now. Whether you are a Kuki or a Methi, whatever you are,
Yes.
Naga,
Yes.
you can't deprive citizens of stuff.
Yes, it is an economic terrorism, and it has been happening in Manipur for last 2-3 decades. It has been happening like that. I remember one of the economic blockade lasted for 530 days, almost 2 years. Not even a
Okay.
single truck pass.
Should it be called economic terrorism?
Well, I won't call it economic terrorism, Kartikeya, but I would definitely call it an economic blackmail, or to force the hand of the center. I completely agree with Major Amit, when he says that Manipur has seen several such economic blockades in the past. But then, the situation is very, very fluid in Manipur. If there is a situation where you see, thousands of guns in the civilian hands. Is anybody saying that these are the guns which are responsible for continual flavor, or at least ensuring that the pot is boiling? Is anybody calling them, weapon terrorism? So the point is that right now the situation is in a flux, and the fact is that every side is taking whatever action they deem fit to ensure that their interests are taken care of. There's a talk which is going on in Delhi. The Home Minister, the other ministries, they have met. The Home Minister and the IB Director and all, and the state also speaks about how the situation will come back to normalcy. But after every one such week, there's the entire normalcy shattered by killings. The entire normalcy is shattered by these kind of announcement where you are back to square one, where you announce blockades and all. And I agree. I mean, the innocent civilians, they suffer most. But in this highly surcharged atmosphere, who is thinking of innocent civilians?
Innocent civilian. I wish. Yes, Suhasji. Yes. Please come in.
I just want to highlight one particular point. That is that at the center we have the BJP, and also at the state level we have the BJP. So when the Chief Minister of or the Cabinet Ministers, Council of Ministers of Manipur called the State Assembly, which is not sanctioned by the Governor, it just shows the level of disconnect even with the government, within the party. So I have never seen anywhere in India, at least in the last 30, 40 years, where, the political party at the center denying the state assembly to its own party at the state level. So this disconnect between the Manipur government led by Biren Singh and the Ministry of Home Affairs shows that actually nobody knows what is happening on the ground. What they know and what they have is there are certain leaders from the suspension of operation groups who are camping in Delhi, and the government of India is talking to them. But the situation is such that each community group plays a critical role because it has become communal. So in that kind of a situation, you are not even talking to all the Kuki groups. And I am telling you that the groups which are engaged in suspension of operations, they do not control over all the cookies. So, I mean, I think it's such a dangerous situation. Now, the second part which I was trying to say is that where will it lead to? Because at the end of the day, you have the arms to the teeth, you can bombard the areas, you cannot use disproportionate force because they are civilians, and big powers like the United Kingdom and etc. had failed to, United States till Bill Clinton, decided to bomb in former Yugoslavia, then, nobody acted. So you cannot also take that kind of an action. So this situation is different from the other blockade, which Major Bansal was referring to, 565 days and etc. Here, each community has its own stake, and never in the history of Manipur, the three communities actually vying for blood for each other, because the Nagas are not participating directly, but they are as much participant. And soon, I think they are going to come, because the day you find a solution with the Kuki groups, the Nagas will be up in arms, and they will be much powerful groups than the Kukis.
I think United Naga Council had issued a statement, Amit, today.
They've issued a letter today in which they are saying that, so the language is as...
I'm playing out the letter, so you can talk about it.
Yes, so they are talking about the census of cookies. They are talking as the cookies are illegal immigrants. They're talking them like that. That the word cookie was heard somewhere around 19th century, late 19th century. They're also, so they are calling it as a, maybe it is a, they're talking of memorandum also of Section 223. All those things are there. So
So what Mr. Chakma is saying is perfect. I'll read it out. This is, I'll read it out. And it says, and what is mentioned in the memorandum of the area of Outer Manipur for the creation of Kuki state, the Kuki only excluding the Zo people, also with Kuki hills which may exist somewhere else. Do the Kuki speak the same sense? Such wild venture will lead the Kukis to nowhere today and future. It's sheer attempt to script bad history for unending enmity between us. Absolutely right. So Haji, bang on. If you look at the language they have used, it is very clear. And it says, it is pertinent to bring to the notice of all conscientious individuals and authorities that the state of Manipur is now flooded with illegal immigrants from Myanmar and Bangladesh. In the district, there has been increasing expansion of villages, creation of new villages rampantly. Columns of illegal camps are being built in alarming rate near the town of Moray and surrounding areas to facilitate settlement of intruding Kukis from Myanmar. This is a very strong statement from the United Naga Council. Earlier they were silent, you were bang on. I could have just...
Kartikeya, the other day I mentioned it to you that in April itself, after the judgment came up on, I think on 19th of April from the High Court saying that the Métis should be considered for the STs. At that point of time, in private conversations, many of the Naga groups from Manipur, they called me up and they raised these issues at that point of time. And when the riots broke out, at that point in time, they had mentioned that, because even though we are also STs, Kukis are also STs, the fear is because Kukis can no longer go to Imphal Valley, they will come up and they will buy the lands in Moray. And of course, we become minority in our own areas. So everybody is talking about their own territories. So that is why the problem is so complex. And unfortunately, the Home Ministry, the more they delay, they just are getting sucked into it, because even by next couple of months, I do not see there is any solution. Imagine if the Naga groups get involved, Naga armed groups get involved into the conflict, or Métis armed groups which may or may not be playing a role also get involved into this conflict. So you will have actually a former Yugoslavia in Manipur, and the central government not knowing what to do, irrespective of whichever is the government. That's the scenario I see at present with the economic blockade, because nobody is going to lift the economic blockade because it means giving in to the other group. So who will blink his eyes first? Nobody wants to do that among these three communities, and soon
you
Nagas
made a
will
point.
join.
You are saying that the people who are part of the Sioux agreement umbrella are not the ones who are right now blocking the highway. Then who's going to talk to me? Who are these people then?
Well, I mean, each community has so many groups, and each time you will see different, different alliances of the tribal communities coming up. So within the tribal communities, there are contests for, representation. So within the Kuki groups, you will find different groups claiming we are the one who represent the Kukis. The same will go for the Métis groups, and the same will go for the Nagas also, because there are different groups. In Naga are slightly better off because of the strong influence of the NSC and IM in that area. Otherwise, there is no monolithic group which can claim that I represent the Kukis. So today, what the Kuki groups who are holding talks in Delhi sign something, it is not necessary for the, these civil society groups or the community groups. Let's not call civil society.
Hello,
The community
okay.
groups operating in Manipur accept the same terms and condition.
Okay, hello Dr. Tombing, how are you? I'll come to you, Swazi. Hello Dr. Tombing, how are you?
Hello. I'm very sorry.
No, it's okay. Dr. Tombing, we are saying that this blocking of highway, I mean, it really needs to stop. I mean, so whether Kuki, Métis, anyone, how can you make common people suffer? Now again, this Dimapur-Imphal highway is being blocked.
Yes. This is a very unfortunate development. And then what I see is that the society, in some way, there are multiple pockets of power, and it seems the state does not have its influence on any of the communities, and therefore, in these multiple pockets of power, people are asserting in some kind of a very vindictive attitudes towards the other section of the society. And I see this as a very problematic one, because it's like, in one way, there is no intent of reciprocity with regard to human kindness, because this is a humanitarian crisis that we are suffering because of the ongoing ethnic violence. And let's say Imphal receives food supply, medicine supply, but then it does not seem to be going beyond the Imphal Valley. And if there's an attempt also, there are certain sections of society which feel that rather than reciprocating, maybe in one way put the community into certain chaos. And in fact, the community seems to have learned not necessarily the goodness and kindness of any society, but rather a very vicious, vindictive approach to whatever the issues and crises we are going through for the past 100 days and more. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to place some very important graphics. This is Supreme Court on Manipur today. And the visual which I am right now playing will be discussed later. Supreme Court has said SC to pass order on August 25th to facilitate proper functioning. Supreme Court said Manipur compensation scheme needs to be improved. Report cite loss of documents by victims such as changes in compensation scheme. The panel has submitted 3 reports. The Manipur first report highlights the loss of documents by citizens. Second report seeks upgradation of compensation scheme. Third report calls for appointment of domain experts to the panel. A very important day, and a very important day on Friday.